Okay, so welcome to CFMU 93.3. You're here with me, Neiko, and my co-host today, Paige and Tyler. All right, today we're interviewing the band 1220 Blast. Introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, my name is Daniel Pinelli. I'm the guitar player from 1220 Blast.
And I'm Andy Walton. I'm the singer for 1220 Blast. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us, guys.
All right, no problem. Welcome. All right, so give us a little bit of information and history on the band and how you guys came to be, and tell us about you guys yourself.
So the band consists of 5 guys. The band originally started in roughly around 1993 with three individuals: John Kingsnorth on drums, Dave Marfisi on guitar, and James Sloat on bass. And in 2000, I joined up with the band for some lead vocals, and then about 6 years ago, Daniel joined us as another lead guitar player. So we've been doing this for a little while now, and yeah, that's kind of where we started. And now that we played cover tunes for several years, and now we're on to the kind of original music. We did just recorded an album at Ukasa Media Group in last August, and now we're just out trying to promote it and have a good time.
Are you guys all from Cayuga?
Myself and Daniel and John Kingsnorth are from Cayuga, and Dave Marfisi's from Hagersville.
Yep.
And James Sloat is from Caledonia.
So we're all from the general area, yeah.
Like, you guys got a good old school sound, I thought. Who are your influences?
Well, you know what, Tyler, that's a tough question to answer because we have so many, but if I had to list a couple, I would say the Tragically Hip, the Black Crowes, the Allman Brothers. It's really kind of interesting where the sound of this band comes from because it's the combination of 5 musicians that all come from separate musical eras, I guess you could say. And you can really see that in the range of age of the band. I'm 23 years old. Andy is 29, Andy?
29,
is that
yeah.
right? And Jamie, I think, is in his 30s. John is in his 40s. And Dave, the oldest, is 55. So in terms of our influences, it really covers a broad range. Red Hot Chili Peppers in there too.
I think you can really hear it in the sound of the album. Just definitely for me, the Black Crowes is one of my favorite bands, and I guess when you constantly listen to it, you just kind of get energized with that type of music. So it definitely comes collectively though from all 5 of us. And you know what, the end result has been exciting for us. It's kind of a new sound, and we're hoping that everybody kind of digs it.
All right, well, you guys mentioned before that you guys played a lot in Caledonia when we first met. How does it feel like to be trying to get yourself out there and promote yourselves more?
Well, it's I guess we got a few friends of ours that are doing the same thing. The band The Groove actually is from Cayuga as well, and they've been doing the Hamilton music scene for a little while. Actually, they were nominated for a Hamilton Music Award this year, so we've kind of got some friends that we talk to and what to do in this, because it is new for us. But I guess it's just about getting yourself out there, doing interviews like this, and having the opportunity to play in front of different crowds. You know, we played the Haldimand area from Port Dover to Caledonia for the last 10 years doing cover tunes, and that transition now between doing covers and doing original music, I don't think it's really easy. Everybody kind of knows us as the cover rock band, great time, and now all that years of experience with crowds and everything is all now we got to perform that in front of people with our own material. So it's a little scary on one aspect, for me, but at the same time it's kind of given me some, and I think the whole band, excitement that we've never experienced before. They're actually going to get to know us as a band and individuals. So.
Yeah, and I know for me, playing our own music has just been a total breath of fresh air, really. As Andy mentioned, we played cover tunes, played pretty much every single bar in the Haldimand, Norfolk area for the past 5 or 6 years. And then we got to a certain point and we just said, you know what, guys, this is fun and everything, but it's not really rewarding for us. And we have been writing our own music kind of on the side for a couple of years in the past. And then eventually we looked at our own tunes and said, this is as good as a lot of this stuff out there today. Why aren't we playing this? Why aren't we recording this? So that was kind of the new direction that we took, and it just feels fantastic to be playing our own music and having people hear it.
And there's a lot of cool artwork I found in this CD. Who made all that?
That actually is the guitar player Dave Marfisi's daughter, Sadie Marfisi, and she is quite the talented artist. And when we started this project, of course, as any band, we're trying to figure out, okay, well, what do we want this thing to look like? And Sadie was going to school at the time to become this artist, and very abstract artwork that she was doing. Just so happened that it kind of came across our jam room floor one night. Dave brought it to us. So that's just a small amount. What you see in the booklet is a small amount of what she actually has. So it was a tough decision to pick out the artwork that we wanted. But we tried to relate that artwork to the songs themselves and use it as a visual thing while people are listening to the material as well. But she is a very talented young lady, and we were happy to have her help us out with this project.
Do you ever feel like you're lacking like a female presence in the band?
You know what? I can say for sure that there's nothing like a female vocalist, really, and
I agree.
I can really touch a lot of fans in a certain way. And something that we've actually talked about is having female singers join us for certain tunes, and that's something that we'd still be open to trying out. Yeah,
for sure. It's for sure that they give a different aspect of how the music's performed to. A lot of what we want to do with people is give them the visual effects when we're playing a live show. We want to make sure that it's a rockin' show and people are having a good time. And you know what? If you you add some female vocalists to that, I think that could definitely help us out there too, right? Get more people out and more people listening.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, we're going to listen to their song "Walk On," and later we're going to be back with the band, and they're going to give us a little information on what inspired them for the song.
All right, man, here we go. Walk on, I say. Walk on with me. Man, I sit around this town and I don't ever want to go down. Alright. All the girls and the beer, all the lovely ladies, yeah. Rise up! And you don't ever wonder what happens in here, yeah. Love the girls, brass poles, and the whiskey and beer,
Walk on, I say. Walk on with me, yeah.
CFMU 93.3, welcome back. We're here talking to 1220 Blast. And that last song we just heard, Walk On, what inspired that song?
Well, that song actually came out of a good friend of mine that I work with. He was telling me some stories about his younger days. He was an older fellow getting ready to retire, actually, and telling me he originally lived in Vancouver, British Columbia, and he was saying that they used to go down to Nevada to a brothel house actually down there. It was that brothel house was called Mustang Ranch. So this song kind of it was inspired through a conversation on a night shift one night. And the guy was telling me the story, it was a great story that I was hearing, and I just kind of took that mental snapshot and went, that could make a great song. So I went home, I sat down, I wrote out some lyrics, and of course it changed about 30 times before it actually made it to the playlist, but we ended up playing it. Of course, the music came along that just fit the lyrics, so it just all came together at the same time, but that's where it started.
One thing I've noticed about that song is every single time we play it live, I swear I think the walls of the bar are ready to fall down because everyone in the bar just starts stomping their feet, and it's this great loud noise, and it's a really simple tune but very, very catchy, and always fun to play that one live.
So how do you guys think the sound changed when you added people in 2000, right? And this band's existed since 93 or something? How do you think the sound changed?
Well, actually, so the band started off as the Absolute Strangers. That was with Johnny, Dave, and Funnel is actually James's nickname. I didn't actually know James's real name for probably about a year when I was in this band. So when those guys got together, they were called the Absolute Strangers with another couple members, and then it went on to become the Strange when they changed some more members. Without Daniel and I weren't there yet. And then, they recorded some albums. They recorded some material in the kind of a basement of a friend's house. And you know what? Their vibe has always kind of been there. What's nice about having musicians that have been playing together this long is that for Johnny and Funnel, for example, I mean, those guys are so tight. So a bass player and drummer, I mean, they've got the experience and can play real tight together. So I don't think their sound, it's grown over the years, but I guess part of what we love about them is that it's always kind of stayed the same that way. They got this great groove going on. Dave is a reggae man at heart. He's I think he's been to Jamaica 30 times, but he's and so he's got that style. He's got that old school sound out of his Les Paul and his Marshall stack. So when that sound actually hasn't really changed over the years. It's kind of stayed the same, which is really cool. That's what we dig.
It's evolved.
It's evolved, exactly. And then you throw in a bit of a, I'm not going to say a clear sound, but more of a Daniel Pinelli sound that really they complement each other so much. So now this great big wall of sound comes at people when we play live shows, and it's a good contrast. So. The sound definitely changes with each member that comes through the band or has gone through the band, but what we have now it's stuck together for a long time, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
All right, well, you guys said that there's a huge age difference in the band. Do you guys find that sometimes it helps with your music, or do you guys find that you guys butt heads sometimes on the sound?
You know what? It can be a little bit of both from time to time. I know there have been times when I'm trying to write a song with Dave or Funnel. Those guys, Funnel, I believe, is in his 30s, and Dave is in his 50s, and here I am, 23. So we've definitely learned different things growing up, but really overall it's just been very, very good working with those guys because, like I said, we take musical genres from, the past 10 years from myself, and Dave and John and Jamie have their own musical influences from the past, 30 years, and we take those and combine them, and the result is a really unique sound that I don't think you hear in a lot of modern day bands. So, sometimes it is tough to work with those guys, but all in all, our interest is always in writing great music, and we always find a way to benefit from it.
And I guess part of what makes this band so great, and we have a lot of friends that are in bands, of course, and you hear about the squabbles or the fights that they might have. This band is like a brotherhood, and I guess we're just a family, so it's good. If we do have arguments or disagreements, it is like a family. We deal with it. We nobody holds grudges. Each band practice, we shake each other's hand. That's one of the key things. If you ever see us play live, we shake each other's hands at the end of every show, because as much as we're there for the crowd and making sure that they're having a great time and hoping that they're digging the material, we're really there a lot for ourselves too. If we weren't having a great time with it, then we probably wouldn't do this. So we shake each other's hand at the end of every show, just to make sure that everybody's good and happy, and hey, they should be rewarded. They do a great job up there. So.
And the audience loves to see that too. Like, I love to see band chemistry like that.
Yeah.
I was just at our CFMU rock concert, and there was this band and these two girls. Apparently they're in like 10 bands together, but they just had the greatest chemistry, and they're playing and they're just like smiling at each other. People
really notice that in the crowd. I mean, I'm the same as you. Like, if I see that kind of chemistry with a band, it's amazing. You can tell when a band doesn't get along. I've gone to see several bands, and I know the individuals, and they're kind of on their way out. Or on the outs, and you know what? It's not as enjoyable for me. So I get to we don't want anybody to in this band to feel uncomfortable. We're just a great bunch of guys having a good time, and at the end of the day, we just want to shake those hands and make sure that everybody knows they did a great job. So
what are your plans for the future?
Well, right now, our main goal is just to get our music out there. Like Andy said, we just finished recording our first complete full-length album in August of last year. And as we mentioned, we've played mostly in the Haldeman, Norfolk area, but our main focus for the coming year is to play as much of the original music venues in Hamilton as we possibly can. We just want to get people to hear this album. We really think it's something special, and everyone that's heard it up to this point has confirmed that. So that's our short-term goals, and long-term, obviously, we want to record another album. The feeling from the first album was just so fantastic. We recorded the whole album in 3 days, and it was just a great experience, so we'd love to do that. Again, we're continually writing, so short-term, we want to get our music out there, and long-term, we want to keep writing, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The short-term, I mean, doing things like this with the interview with you guys, and just letting people hear that material. And yeah, playing from Toronto to Windsor to wherever we possibly can. We're trying to get festivals anywhere. So yeah, we just want people to hear it. Like it or not, criticism's always good too. But we just want people to. We want to hear their thoughts. We want people to Facebook us and talk to us about the album, ask those questions. We want to be, I guess, basically personal with everybody. And I mean, we're just a bunch of regular guys. That's the thing about all those bands out there that are famous now. They all started in basements somewhere, and we're no different. We just want to, not that we want to become rock stars necessarily, but we just want to make sure that we go as far as we possibly can without giving up.
Do you guys feel as if you've kind of transcended covers? Do you still play covers like you used to? Do you want to record covers?
We still play a few covers. Like I said, that transition's really hard to make. We had conversations in the band, lengthy conversations with the band about how are we going to make this transition. People when they see 1220 playing somewhere, do we just stop playing covers altogether? That was an option. Do we intertwine our originals with cover material and see what happens? And you know what? We just said we're going to go out there and put on a good show. We want to make sure we play all of our originals in a night. And if there's time for covers, we're going to throw some Black Crows at you. We're gonna do whatever we can to make sure that you go, oh man, that was a great tune. And you know what? Bands that are playing Massey Hall and Molson Amphitheater, they're doing the same thing. We just went to see the Trues the other night. Actually got a chance to meet them and shoot the breeze with those guys. And after watching their show, they do the exact same thing. They play all their original material, which is crazy killer, by the way. And then they'll throw in. I think they played the band for a song, and that's another great, obviously, band. So to hear that, actually, to be honest, it's a little bit comforting when you see a big band like that playing some original or some cover material. It's like, wow, they're still doing the same thing that we're doing. So it's a humbling event to go see guys like that play, but also it brings it back down to earth when you see them do a cover tune like that. So that's probably what you'll see us do. Do our set of originals and then throw in some covers here and there.
All right, that's pretty cool. All right, well, I remember the first day that you guys dropped off the CD. Tyler and I think we just came in here and actually we listened to the whole CD and we loved every song on it because we like your guys' sound. And we were also flipping through your guys' book and we realized that you guys have a lot of cool studio shots and stuff. Can you guys tell us about your time that you had when you were doing your recording and what it was like to actually record your album?
Yeah, so that was quite possibly the best 3 days of my life to start off. It was really funny the way it worked out because we knew that we wanted to record this album, and we had previously recorded at a friend's house in Port Dover there, and we were planning to return and record there again for the album. And then I think he had a boating accident or something, and I
think his boat burnt.
His boat burnt?
Yeah.
Okay.
The studio was actually in his garage, and something about something catching fire. And this was like the weekend before we were supposed to go in. We had the time booked off and everything, so...
Yeah, this really threw a wrench into our plans, but it's funny the way things work out because Andy's sister works at the Salvation Army there, and she was working with a fellow named Rob Lamoth, who is a well-known producer in this area. He's worked with a number of original bands from around here, and I think Andy's sister was just mentioning to him that we were looking to record, and he said, "Hey, I work as the general manager at a studio that's just outside of Caledonia called Jukasa." And we jumped on the idea right away, went in there, and it was a great experience.
I think we looked at some pictures of Jukasa when we were looking at recording back in the spring, because we'd heard about the studio that was on 6 Line outside of Caledonia. And as soon as we looked at the pictures, we went, "Oh man, we can't afford that. There's no way that we're going to be able to play here, right?" So we kind of just left it, and then we had this hookup for this other fellow in Port Rowan, and so when I heard that Rob was the general manager there, I went down to the Salvation Army, which my sister does work at, a great organization, by the way, and I went down to see him. I said, "Is it possible that we get in there?" And of course, Rob's a super nice guy, and he said, "You know what, I think I can hook you up with something." So Nick Blagona is the chief engineer there. He's done bands from Deep Purple. He did the Saturday Night Fever album. So he said, "Well, you might be able to get him for a day." So we said, "Well, what's it going to cost?" And we worked it out, and he looked after us pretty good there, and we said, "We can do this. We can afford to go in there for 3 days." But that meant working really hard to make sure we're ready, because when you only got 3 days to record 14 songs, even though it's only 3 minutes a song, you could do one song over and over again and waste half a day real easy. So we had a lot of pre-production. We spent probably 6 months of pre-production with Rob as well, going through our tunes and making sure that they were ready. And then when we showed up at that studio on that Friday morning, Nick Blagona was there to greet us, and we had a great time with him. And we were lucky enough we were only going to have Nick for 1 day on the Friday, and then we were going to have Darren, and I can't pronounce his last name. He's going to kick my butt for that, but... we were going to have Darren, the assistant engineer, for the rest of the weekend, which was cool with us. I mean, it's a beautiful place. Well, Nick actually ended up coming back both Saturday and Sunday after being with us on Friday. We were just kind of hanging out, and he was digging the vibe, so we were lucky enough to have him all weekend. And that home album that you guys are listening to is kind of the result. It was exciting, and I think you can probably hear it in our playing, how excited we were just to be in a venue like that and have the opportunity to work with two world-class people, Nick and Rob, and not that Darren's not world class, he is too, but we just had a great time, and it was exciting, and I think I can hear it in my voice playing on that album for sure.
I can hear it in your voice when you're talking about it.
Yeah, I tend to get excited. I think that anybody has an opportunity from Hamilton or anywhere in Ontario. It was also exciting because not 2 weeks before that, the Sheepdogs were in recording their first hit single in that studio. I Don't Know. They recorded that, and I mean, we all know who the Sheepdogs are. So just to feel that I was standing in the same spot as these people and this transition between, the new 1220 coming out, I was excited. I mean, I think Snoop Dogg was there a couple days before we went in there. I mean, that's what it's all about for bands. What's that?
A rumor.
It's a rumor?
I don't know.
No, I mean, yeah, there were all those famous people sitting in the same booth that I'm singing out of, or Daniel's playing guitar in that same area. I mean, I guess that doesn't go away from when you're a kid, when you're thinking, man, these people are famous, even though they're just regular people like us, and we're in the same spot. So,
is it hard recording in a studio with no audience motivation? Well, there's motivation, just no audience.
You know what? I guess it boils down to the same thing I said before about doing it for ourselves. Like, we'll perform a show in front of 3,000 people at the Blacktop Pop in Caledonia, and you know, selfishly speaking, I'm up there for me and my brothers playing with me. As much as I'm there for the crowd, make sure you're having a great time. I think that studio was just like playing in front of 3,000 people on a stage. It was an incredible feeling.
Yeah, I know for myself, I definitely didn't need any extra motivation when we were recording that album, even though there's not a crowd right there and then. I remember what I was just thinking was just, this is my chance. I've been playing with these guys for 6 years now. I've been practicing in my room since I was 10 years old. This is my chance to show everyone what I can do. And one of the funny things about the way the album turned out was a lot of the parts on the album hadn't been completely written until we were actually in there recording it. We had the general structure of songs, but for myself, solos I was playing and certain rhythm parts, I really just kind of came up with on the spot. And I guess that's part of the inspiration of working in a place like that. But it was just a fantastic time to be in there.
Can't wait to go back.
All right, so I really like your band name. Maybe you could tell us how you came up with that?
Yeah, that's it's a hunting term actually. 1220 Blast. It's me and the drummer were taking our firearms license at the time. I do live in Cayuga, by the way. So anybody that's listening from Hamilton, we have firearms licenses out there. But so we were taking that, and there's a thing called 1220 Blast, and it's where you take a 20 gauge shell, which is quite a bit smaller than a 12 gauge shell, and you slide it into a 12 gauge shotgun, and it will slide down past the chamber and into the little bit of the barrel of the gun. A 12 gauge shell can go in behind it, and of course you close your gun, and if you pull the trigger, you know what happens. The bullet can't go anywhere but outward. So that's where it came from, and it just kind of stuck. We've thought about band name changes, things like that. Like, is it catchy enough, and I guess it's just always stayed there. And part of the reason why I guess it's hard to get rid of the cover tune mentality is because we've held on to that name for the last 10 years. So we didn't want people to think that we were kind of abandoning what we've always done or learnt, and we wanted to just try and hopefully make a smooth transition.
A 1220 Blast didn't happen to you, did it?
No, it didn't. But
you definitely don't want a 1220 Blast to happen, just to clarify.
Yeah. I just put on my website, or not my web, our website today, Steeltown is to be 1220'd, and there's a picture of a guy from that show. What's that show called? Wipeout, I think it's called. And it's one of those guys hitting one of those big red balls and smashing his face off it. And we're just we're trying to have fun with it, right? Like, what does 1220 mean? And so definitely have to check out the website. There's a lot of cool pictures on there.
All right, well, tell us more about your website now that you have actually mentioned it, and give people a link to it and how people can actually check you out instead of just listening to the radio. Is there like something they can go on the website and listen to your music or download your album or something?
Sure. So the website is 1220blast.ca. And we actually just had a new website made a couple months ago, and we've got all of our content on there. We've got all the tunes on there. So there's a tab called Songs. You can click on that. You can listen to all the songs for free there. Those are all the songs off of our recent album, Home. Other than that, on the website, we've got a news feed where we regularly post updates about what's going on with 1220, if we're playing, if we're doing a radio interview such as today. We've got a little bit of a story that talks about the history of the band. We've got some links to videos that we've played, and we've got a contact link on there. If anyone's interested in having us play, you can go on there and send an email to us, and we'll respond promptly to it.
Out of your whole album, what do you guys believe would be your hardest song to record and write? And what do you think was the reason for that?
Well, I guess I'll take that one. Emma Joe's Lullaby was probably one of the hardest ones to actually get nailed down to where we were all happy. Emma Jo is my daughter. She's 20 months old. That's at home with my wife Shauna right now.
Congratulations.
And thank you. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. But that was the one that I was really emotionally attached to this song, and I had wrote it. And this sounds kind of sappy, I guess, but it was actually one night she was going to bed, wouldn't sleep, took the acoustic guitar in there and started to play. And that's where it started. Went right downstairs after she had gone to bed and started to write this tune down, thinking I have to do something like this. So it stayed as acoustic for a while. I played it pretty well at every band practice, and we worked on it a little bit. And right up until the studio day, I remember saying to the guys, I'm not sure this is ready. I don't know if this is ready. And part of that's probably just me, thinking that this thing's got to be bigger than life. I can't, this is a song that my daughter's going to be listening to, and my grandchildren hopefully someday. And I want it to be absolutely perfect. So, the amazing parts, right? I'm nervous about this song going into Jacassa, and Rob knows it. Everybody knows it. This song's got to be perfect. And at the end of the day, when I listened to that song, and actually Rob Lamoth sang some backups in the chorus on that song with us, it pretty well brought tears to my eyes. I was amazed at what kind of sound and what my band family did to make that song beautiful. So that was the hardest one for me, to walk in there and think, all right, this is going to happen and it's going to work out properly. I think right until I heard it recorded and done is when I went, all right, it's done, and I was very happy with it.
So when you mention hard to make everyone happy, you mean just you?
Yeah, I guess pretty well. And I haven't got that LSD thing going on. Daniel might argue with that, but lead singer's disease. I don't have that. Definitely everybody's got their own talent. So when we're writing material, nobody says, hey, you play this, you play that. Because we all are our own entities, we make sure that everybody has their own creative balance. So, Daniel comes up with his parts. I don't tell him what to play, although we'll tweak it together. That's the fun part. But this song, I guess there was a little bit of that in me. I wanted to make sure it was perfect. And I guess the amazing part is that I didn't have to tell anybody what to play. They did it and made it sound exactly how I thought it should in my head.
That's chemistry for you.
Yeah, that's we're very lucky there.
What's probably your most technically challenging piece?
Ooh, technically challenging.
You mean song? The most technically challenging song?
Yeah.
To play?
I don't know.
You know what? They're just all so much fun to play. I don't know if I could even say one's harder than the other.
Yeah. There was. I guess maybe we all had our moments. I know Early Morning Sunrise. There was some solos at the end that we played with for a little while to make sure that they sounded the way that we wanted them to. And that's where you can lose a lot of time as a band in a studio, because you can go in there and play a solo and come back, listen to it, and then go back and go, that's not good enough. Okay, so back in. And luckily that didn't happen to us in that 3 days, or else we would have probably spent a ton more money and not have the album done. So technically challenging, I think we were all just so pumped up, we just made it happen.
All right. Here's a question for you guys. How did you guys all meet? And I know that, Daniel, you go to McMaster University here.
Yep.
And so did you guys meet here at the school, or was it just kind of a run-in, or give us some detail on that?
Actually, the way I got hooked up with 1220 Blast was through my older brother, Nick Pinelli, and he actually started playing with 1220. I would have been in about grade 9. And Nick, who's 2 years older than me, was in grade 11 at the time, and he had a friend who knew John Kingsnorth, who is the drummer, and John mentioned to Nick's friend that they were looking for someone to play in 1220 Blast. And then Nick's friend knew Nick and said, hey, Nick, you should go talk to John Kingsnorth about playing in 1220 Blast. So he went out there. I think they had a couple jams, and I think really hit things off there.
Actually, one of the first shows we played with your brother was at the Sanderson Center in Brantford, and we never actually jammed with him, maybe for 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I think that same thing actually happened with you once we got hooked up, didn't it?
Yeah, so eventually what happened is Nick played a couple shows with them, and then he decided to move out west for a little bit and try the life out there, and that meant that 1220 was looking for someone to fill the spot, and Nick, being the great brother that he is, mentioned myself to the band, and I kind of just moved in, and things happened naturally. So that's how I got introduced.
And, back with Johnny, Funnel, and Dave, that's a story for another show, I think, because I actually don't really know their history. But for me, I worked with John, the drummer. John's kind of always been the center of the band, I guess, and making sure that everybody comes together. So he's always been the one with his, the feelers out there to get musicians involved. And I worked with Johnny on the Haldeman County Pools one summer, and we got just messing around, singing tunes. I think the Backstreet Boys were playing, and I was probably wailing away. And you know what? It just kind of clicked. Me and him became really, really close friends. And he's like, you know what? I got a band right now that we're looking for a singer, and it just happened. Another singer got hired with me at the time. Andrew Stefani used to work at Y108 here in Hamilton, and his life's ventures took him up to Godrich, I think now, and we were left as a unit, and it hasn't changed since.
All right, nice. Okay, so it's almost time for us to get going. We're gonna play one more song for you guys, and it's called Monster. Before we play the song, give us a little information, what inspired you, and the name of the song too.
So this song started off when we recorded with the older 1220 Blast back in the early 2000s, and it was called Monster, and we had another song called Standing in the Fields. So Johnny had this song Standing in the Fields, which was written primarily through a hard time in his world, in his life, with his father passing away of cancer, and that's where the verses of this song that you're about to hear kind of came from. And I wrote another song later on in the probably 2008 that had the chorus line to it, and it was actually written about a guy by the name of Jack the Barber that lived in Cayuga. This guy had been through, I think, 2 world wars, and he was an older, frail man, and surviving 2 world wars. And then 2 punk kids went into his barbershop one day and beat him up so bad that he was hospitalized and eventually died of his injuries. So, I was compelled, because it's a Cayuga history that I didn't want lost, that this guy had survived so much and seen so much horror in his life, and was just a regular barber in Cayuga, and then to be actually beaten up by some punk kids for some chump change was a little overwhelming. So this is a song that is combined between a sad part in the drummer's life and a sad part in kind of Cayuga history, and actually the result was what you're about to hear, and this is probably one of my favorites on the album.
All right, thanks guys for coming out. Again, we're with Andy Walton and Daniel Pinelli. Hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah.
From 1220 Blast, and we're going to play one more song for you called Monster.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Alive and well, and the masterpiece of misdirection, I believe we're going down. You have made me the monster that I am. You could not even look at your reflection if you've done what I've done or seen what I've seen. You think I'm mad now, boy? Well, I'm getting me. We are born again Christians who are searching for their soul, and I'm flipping through the pages, making all the folds, and the music is a color, and the painting is the sound, and the masterpiece of misdirection. I believe believe we're going down. You have made me the monster that I am. You could not even look at your reflection if you've done what I've done or seen what I've seen. You think I'm mad now, boy? Well, I'm getting mean. That I am. You could not even look at your reflection if you've done what I've done or seen what I've seen. You think I'm mad now, boy? Well, I'm getting
heard you like 93.3, so we're going to turn some on so you can listen to 93.3 while you're listening to 93.3. We here at CFMU like it too, so we're going to turn some more on so you can listen to us, listening to us, listening. Here we go. What is this inception? I like CFMU. This is ridiculous. Get out of here. That was really weird. You're listening to 93.3 CFMU.